Hello everyone, I am your host Zafar Ali and I welcome you all in this brand new episode of Buzz Behind the Sport initiated by the IISM. Sports industry involves spectrum of field, but if we talk about sports industry, it is very necessary that we talk about sports science as well. Sports psychology is one such topic which is yet to be discovered and explored. And sports psychology is a very important part of this. To talk on a very such topic, I welcome Parinaaz Irani मैम. ये एपिसोड में हमने कुछ ऐसी चर्चा की है जहां एक स्टूडेंट्स के लिए और स्पेशली मेरे लिए बहुत ही इंफॉर्मेटिव रहा है. स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजी अगर किसी को भी परस्यू करना है, सो दिस एपिसोड इज गोइंग टू बी अ रियली की वन. So welcome to the show, ma'am. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, thank you.
So you have mentioned on your LinkedIn profile that about inspiring individuals to level up their potential. What does this mean? ये psychology, sports psychology को define करता है आपके लिए. ये perfect तरीका होगा Indian audiences के लिए ये define करने के लिए. So आपका इस बारे में क्या कहना है?
So sports psychology एक बहुत niche field है. बहुत लोग उसके बारे में जानते नहीं है, बट देर आर मल्टीपल वेज टू एक्चुअली वर्क विद इन स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजी. तो मैंने ये चूज़ किया था कि आई एम गोइंग टू बी वर्किंग विद एथलीट्स टू हेल्प देम लेवल अप टू देयर पोटेंशियल. बहुत बार हमारे में जो पोटेंशियल होता है वो हमें खुद ही नहीं पता होता है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि आई एम गोइंग टू बी एबल टू फॉर श्योर गेट यू देयर, बट ऑन द जर्नी यू नो वो माइंडसेट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आप किस तरीके से सोचते हो वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. So that's what I decided as a practitioner after my masters कि मैं एथलीट्स के साथ अप्लाइड वर्क करूँगी. ऐसे बहुत सारे बाकी स्पोर्ट्स साइकोलॉजिस्ट हैं जो रिसर्च में जाते हैं, एजुकेशन में जाते हैं. सो ये टाइप ऑफ वर्क इज़ माई चॉइस बिकॉज आई वॉन्ट टू इंस्पायर अदर्स to actually get better and perform better in whatever field they are, athletes, non-athletes, doesn't matter.
Beautiful. So why sports psychology particularly? Psychology में भी इतने सारे disciplines होते हैं. So is there any personal experiences why you selected sports or are you a sports enthusiast?
Yeah, 100%. So I think जब बचपन से I've just been around sports. Because my exposure was so high to sports, I played in school, I played handball in school, I trained in badminton, I trained in taekwondo, I also played rugby for some reason, but that was fun. So I've been around sports all my life, and unfortunately I couldn't continue it as a career, but I wanted to be within that sporting industry. And when I finished my masters, I realized that this sports psychology is as an option available. So I was completely into it. I wanted to know more. What is sports psychology? I also had no idea because psychology is something we speak about. It's more of mental health, right? I also have a background in clinical psychology. Wow. So for me, I always wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to do like sessions with clients. And that's where my journey began. But when I went into sports psychology, that's when I realized that, no, it's not the same thing. In sport, you're working with athletes, you're working with high performers, you're working with coaches, and you're working with parents of athletes as well. They're all focused on high performance. They're focused on how can they actually get their potential there out on the field when it matters the most. And that's when I realized, okay, there is a difference between mental health, clinical psychology, counseling psychology, and sports psychology. And I'm so glad that I got into sports psychology because I absolutely love working with everyone who is involved within performance and helping them through that journey become better.
Even for me, this is a very exciting topic to talk about because it is yet to be explored more. People don't realize its value. Now it's getting I would say it's getting up और आ रहा है इस बारे में और पता चल रहा है लोगों को. So there is still a stigma around mental health issues. How can this be changed? Because बहुत सारे लोग इसको सिर्फ sadness मानते हैं. अगर आपको कुछ mental health issues है, if you are suffering from some kind of mental health issue, many people just ignore it and they just consider that this is just a normal sadness. So how can this be changed or what do you think about this?
Yeah. since I started psychology, and it's been like a while now that I started my education, stigma was always there around mental health. And we often have stigmas around things which we don't understand. Mental health जैसे दिखता है outwardly, a lot of people, right, किसी ने कुछ अजीब तरीके से behave किया in a social space, तो हमें लगता है कि वो पागल है. Of course, they are not able to be in that social space जैसे expected है, but there is a reason why they are behaving the way they are. So that's where I think all the stigma has consistently been there for years together now. And mental health is something that is very close to my heart. As I said, clinical psychology मैंने की है, तो so mental health is something that's not just the absence की मुझे कोई issue नहीं है. It's about actually being able to perform well in life. So जब हम sad रहते हैं, of course we can be sad. Things happen in our lives, right? Every day we go through challenges, home में, relationships, even when you're doing sport, there's a lot of things happening. So sadness is natural. But when it becomes to an extent कि probably you're not able to function in life really well, it's hampering your relationships, it's hampering your work, तब जाके I think we need to start thinking कि okay, let's seek some professional help. And there is nothing bad about it. It's like you're going to a doctor because you're not able to understand what's happening with your body. You go to a psychologist to understand what is happening in your mind. What are you thinking? What is that emotion that's probably bothering you? So that's the mental health side of things.
हमें कुछ भी बीमारी होती है, when we get a little stomach ache or we are diagnosed with food poisoning, हम जल्दी डॉक्टर के पास भागते हैं. But many people neglect this. They just stay in their own zone, ignoring all those problems that they are facing. So that is really, I would say, it's more than physical. जब आपको physical pain होता है, it stays just physical, but आपको emotional pain होता है, तो physical pains भी आपको होते हैं, ऐसा मैंने सुना है. So what do you think? How can you elaborate physical pains and emotional pains together?
Yeah, no, bang on, because our mind and our body are connected, right? जब हम कुछ बहुत beautiful सोचते हैं, like we are in a particular memory, तो body automatically we start feeling relaxed and we start feeling like happier all throughout our body as well. So that connection's there. Also, if we get hurt in our body, for example, कुछ लग गई, चोट लग गई, maybe an accident, whatever, that also, in that moment, don't you feel a little bit upset or irritated or angry? Of course. So all of that is connected. Whatever's happening in your body impacts your mind, and whatever's happening in your mind impacts your body, right? For athletes, for example, when they're very anxious, when they're like stressed out, the body बहुत freeze हो जाता है, freeze, या the muscles start tensing, जिसके वजह से performance खराब हो जाता है.
So your hands get cold and all.
Exactly, sweating, and yeah, you've experienced it too, I think. So yeah, it shows up in your body, and that's why there's a connection between both. तो दोनों पे focus करना important है कि yes, I'm feeling physically unwell, but probably I need to also check how I'm thinking about it or I'm feeling about it.
Great. So coming back to your educational background, you have mentioned on your LinkedIn that you have done masters from UK, from Leeds Beckett University. So what is psychology in United Kingdom and here? What do you see? How do you compare?
I think psychology as a profession, वहाँ पे काफी time से था. But sports psychology is also fairly recent. Like they may be about, this is my opinion, but 7 to 8 years ahead of India. So it's not like they are so US had more of sports psychology. That's where everything started in the 1900s, and that's where it started begin the academic courses, the experimentation. Everything started there more. UK, it has started now. There is more awareness. Athletes are at least aware that there is a part of sports science called sports psychology. You need to consult one at least somewhere in your journey. So that's where UK is compared to India right now. That's why we're talking about it. There's a very little awareness. which is great because this is a stream of work which is going to really help the athletes. So we are here to talk about it, get them more aware of what's happening. So I think UK is just a little bit more ahead in terms of work and opportunities. So yeah, that was
India
my
mein,
experience.
there is still a lot of scope on the sports psychology.
No, there is scope, I think, everywhere, definitely.
Right. So you have worked as a performance psychologist consultant. So can you just describe your responsibilities and how you manage your, I would say, patients or whoever it is?
Yeah. No, we call them clients or athletes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. But to summarize what I do, now I work with athletes one-to-one. So I can have, like, we are sitting. I'm going to sit with you, help you. I'll take you through the entire journey of getting to know why you started your sport. Where did you come? Where are you currently in your sporting journey? What are the ups and downs that you've gone through? How do you deal with success and failure? All of these conversations we're going to have one-to-one. So this helps me understand where I can come in and support you and improve your performance. Right? So that's a very personal approach. Also, I do certain work with teams or with groups where I'm educating them on certain concepts, like what is sports psychology, what is goal setting, how do you focus in sport. So all of those things I'm doing on a group level. So you can address a bigger group so that it's more educational. But when it comes to actually improving performance, it becomes a lot more one-to-one. So I'm doing both the things right now, and I'm also teaching. So there's a lot of things I am doing currently. But consulting work usually works like with individuals or with groups.
But when you pursue your passion, when you do something what you love, it doesn't feel like you are struggling or you are working hard. You just enjoy the moment.
Absolutely.
So you must be aware about Rishabh Pant's incident. I'm coming from a cricketing background. That's why I've picked up a cricketer.
Right.
So he was doing really well in his cricketing career. He was really scoring well for India in Test cricket. But all of a sudden, he met with an accident. And his life completely changed. And we can see on his social media account also how depressed he must be feeling, because he is constantly sharing those quotes about being emotional. Or so how do athletes cope up from this?
Yeah. Injuries, accidents are very, very personal experiences. I would say they change you in a very different way. So every athlete who has gone through injury, they respond to injury or these experiences in a very, very different way. So I don't know what exactly he was going through. And I myself got out of sport. I used to play badminton, but I stopped playing when I got my meniscus tear in my knee. So I also got out of sport because of an injury. So every athlete, I think, deals with injury in a very different way. The way they perceive, why did the injury happen? First of all, was it something that you could have controlled, or I couldn't have controlled? When you can't control it, it's probably a little more easier to accept. But when it happens because of your own lack of awareness or lack of focus or something that you could have controlled, is more frustrating for the athlete as well. Irrespective, if they see it as career ending, then how do they manage those emotions? We have to talk through that with them. How are you feeling about this incident? How are you perceiving your entire sporting journey? Bahut baar when we get injured, we think that we are alone, because you have to separate yourself from the team or from the entire sporting fraternity till you actually are in rehab. So that isolation is not the best situation for them as well. So you have to work through all of these emotions, and it's not an easy journey. So that's when a sports psychologist can really come in to help them deal with this, make certain decisions. They shouldn't make decisions because of emotions always, but also have some kind of sounding board, like you come and talk to me through it, and then we can probably come to a decision. So yeah, I think to answer your question.
Many students or people would relate to what you're talking right now, because I have met most of them who have left playing cricket or whatever they are playing, like they have the passion for.
Yeah.
So whether it's responsibilities, whether it's injuries, kuch bhi ho sakta hai, and they just leave playing their favorite sport. So I have been through the same thing. I was injured. I was a promising cricketer. I've played for my under 14 district also. Many professionals were telling that I have a natural talent. Then one life blow, I got a ligament tear, and there were dislocation. I tried to cure it. I tried to ignore the surgery, but it couldn't happen. Then after 2 years, I was diagnosed with some neurological disorders. Then the doctors told that I would never come back to the field. So I could really relate to what you're talking about, because after that it's a very lonely journey. I have no shame in admitting that I have cried a lot about this, because at the age of 6, it was my first love. Since then, it hasn't stopped. So after that, my life turned around. I am a different human altogether. Yeah. I view life from much more broader perspective. So I just want to ask you to give a message to people who have been through the same thing.
Yeah. By the way, you're really courageous for talking about your own experience, and you sharing that just makes it so much more relevant that, okay, now this is the life situation, and now I think you've come to a place of accepting it and seeing life in a very different way, and that talks highly about how you are processing your emotions and the situation. So thanks for sharing that. And yeah, my suggestion could be just firstly to understand where you're so you wanted to know more about the injury bit, right? So how are they dealing through that?
Exactly, how they are dealing, because nobody expects that उनके लाइफ में ऐसा सिचुएशन आएगा कि एक दिन उनको खेलना छोड़ना पड़ेगा, बट जब आता है then they see we are humans. हमें लगता ही है hurt because we have devoted all our life to that sport or anything we are doing, and all of a sudden it gets stolen away from you. So उनके लिए मैं ये मैसेज आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा, because many students will watch this podcast show. So एक मैसेज आप देना चाहेंगे उनको?
Okay. I think firstly the injuries situation, जो भी negative situation आया है right now, the challenge that's come to you, the first step for you would be to actually understand and process your emotions, because if not that, you're going to suppress it, you're going to like ignore reality. A lot of times kabhi na niggles hote hai ya minimal pains, people who have not gotten out of sport because of major injuries, but they're playing through pain for a while and they're ignoring it. So it starts with that, and then you actually get injured and then you're still ignoring that. So I think first comes the acceptance bit that it has happened.
That is the most difficult thing, accepting the reality.
Yeah, exactly. You want to change it. You want to fight against it. No, I'm not getting injured, or no, this can't be happening to me. Which is very natural. I really want to say this is very natural an emotion to feel, because you wanted something. It's your first love, as you said. You want that. So first is acceptance, and then comes actually understanding where is that emotion coming from. Did you see sport as your end all? Then that gives a little bit more pressure. Okay, if this was my career, ab kya? So some people are coming from that angle. Some people are coming from, okay, I really found my my safe space in sport. Then if that's taken away from me, what about it? So what is it? What does sport mean for them? That's where the emotions coming from. That is where you have to start understanding your emotions. You have to start thinking what we can do next after that. So my suggestion is just that first actually accept the reality of the situation, and then talk through this with some trusted people. See where you can go ahead in this journey in a more healthier way, where you have processed all your emotions and not just pushed them away. It's very easy to talk about. Very, very easy for me to say this. It's very difficult to be on the actual side of doing it. But just knowing that the support's available, I think, then that can be helpful. So yeah, that could be my suggestion.
Very, very beautifully explained. I think that would really help people who are watching this and who could really relate to you, including me. So I spoke about Rishabh Pant incident, and next time I'll be coming to Ishan Kishan now. Recently he took breaks because of some mental health fatigue. So ऐसा क्यों होता है कि वो लोग खेल रहे हैं and they love that sport, that's why they are playing at the प्रोफेशनल लेवल. सो क्या होता है उनके लाइफ में ऐसा कि उनको ऐसे ब्रेक्स लेने पड़ते हैं? व्हाट मेक्स देम टेक मेंटल हेल्थ ब्रेक्स?
सो विद एवरी एथलीट अगेन उनका जर्नी लाइक is not only filled with sports, it's also a lot more, right? So yes, you're playing the thing that you're playing the sport that you love, you're playing at the level that you always wanted to play. But life happens in everybody's life, of course. So it's not only about sport, your relationships, your family, your work life, financial stresses, all of those things are also going on at the same time. It doesn't stop for you. I'm not saying that is his case, but as an athlete, pressure comes not only from performing on the field, but also off the field. So that needs to be considered. When you're on the field, managing pressure day in and day out with the amount of expectations that you perceive from other people around you, the coaches, and in cricket especially, there's so much selection pressure as well, even at that level. So that if you're unable to again accept, process and change, then that builds up, and eventually things start falling apart for you because you've not addressed those things, and you start making decisions that you wouldn't have made in a space that you were mentally in a good space. So I think that's why those breaks are essential for you to like step back, understand what's actually happening, because there's so much together, and then come back. And that's not a shame. I think I absolutely admire those at that level to take a break, you know. It's difficult because you're going to be asked so many questions where you're not wanting to answer those questions. So hats off to them, honestly. But yeah, I think them taking a step back is, you have to step back and slow down to speed up. That's what you say, right? So that's going to be helpful for them to deal with the pressure.
Nice. So coming back to sports psychology field, Mugdha Bavre and Gayatri Vartak traveled as a psychologist in Commonwealth Games 2022, and since then there's a positive impact of psychologists in India. You know, आप देखेंगी कि हर स्पोर्ट्स टीम जो ट्रैवल करती है, whether it's cricket, any sports you take, उनके साथ एक psychologist रहता ही है. So how it impacts them in a positive way, because मैं भी अपनी personal journey में आपसे share करूँगा. तो जब मैं club के लिए खेलता था, when I used to play for the club, and when I used to go to the pitch for opening the batting, then मुझे भी लगता था कि हाँ मैं out हो जाऊँगा, मैं कैसे खेल पाऊँगा. I used to shiver a lot. So ये एक बहुत अच्छा example होगा कि बताने के लिए कि how psychologists help them actually. So what do you have to say on that?
Yeah, personally, I haven't toured with any teams so far. So whatever information I'm going to give you is based on my understanding from
You only
others.
want that.
Yeah. So touring with athletes, I think it has a very positive impact on the athletes, because there is a level of support that you feel that when you're playing, there's a lot of things that are happening. You have to manage decisions as well. You have to perform. Then when you are in the league, probably you are constantly performing, right? In a tournament, you are going through rounds and you are getting feedback on how it's going. So how are you like dealing with all those emotions? If you didn't play well, you played well. So all of those things can be discussed if there is a psychologist on tour with you. Also, I think as a team sport in cricket, there is a lot of team building activities that can be done as well, which can help the athletes feel that camaraderie, that support as well through this entire journey. So that's my short answer to you.
Okay, so coming to the psychological point of view, any player that you know stand out in terms of mental resilience, because I have seen a lot of players coming out really strong after hitting rock bottom. And I can share one more example that I really love about Virat Kohli in 2022 World Cup. T20 World Cup, when India was facing Pakistan and 4 wickets were down and Kohli comes in, and I don't know, I can see in his eyes what he was feeling. So how do you describe that? Any player that stands out, or, because you have been that sporty character and you must be knowing some of the players who have a really mental toughness. So any player you remember?
Yeah. I think my answer to this is going to come from more of a fan perspective rather than a professional.
Sure.
But I really admire Dhoni because of his mental toughness, his patience, his ability to manage his emotions on the field. And that's helped him make some good decisions as well that have taken the team ahead. So I really admire him for that. And every athlete, when they're playing at that level, they have to be resilient. There's no chance that they actually reached there without being resilient. So all of the players, all sports, everyone who has been able to play at higher levels, in my opinion, they're all resilient. Because life has happened. They've played sport for 10, 15 years. There's no chance that it's been a smooth ride. The fact that they're still standing there, maybe not on the podium, but they're standing there, they're representing the country or they're representing the state, it doesn't matter. But you've reached that level means you've been so resilient. So I absolutely admire every athlete then.
Amazing. So I would say any personal experience, I'm asking you about the mental health that you must have suffered in the past that made you, go in this field of psychology or something like that.
Personally,
if you are comfortable sharing.
No, you're asking me if I went
exactly.
through
If you have been through some kind of that mental pressure, mental fatigue, and how did you overcome that?
Okay. So I started psychology years back because I was very interested in what human behavior is. How do we actually think, feel, etc. So that's where it's all started. And I thought that being a psychologist, it's going to protect me from any kind of mental pressures or worries or stress in life. But it's not true. I have also been for therapy, and I think I'd encourage people who are going through challenges to do that.
Absolutely.
So I've overcome it through the best solution was to just sit down by myself and process what I'm going through. Because a lot of times what I did was ignore it and moved on with life. Life goes on every day. So you go on with it. But the best thing I did was sit down, reflect on what I was going through, accept it. That's why my suggestion for you was that. And I took some professional help for that as well. So I have no shame in saying that, because it's very crucial to get the help in the right time rather than waiting for it to really burn you out.
Amazing. So, if you are feeling down in that moment, you have such negative thoughts coming into your mind that मैं ये नहीं कर सकता, मैं ये नहीं कर सकती. You are feeling really low in terms of confidence. So what a person should do in that span of time, during that presently, how should a person focus? What are the things you recommend for the people?
So when we are down, our minds are really funny and
it's okay.
Interesting. No, because it's like when you're down, you will think of things that put you more down, and it's pan-human tendencies, right? So that needs to be broken. That pattern of being stuck in the negative loop needs to be broken. So the confidence will only build, or you will be able to get out of it slowly and steadily through taking smallest of actions that you actually like. So maybe do something that gives you some amount of positive emotion. Maybe go out for a walk, maybe talk to somebody. Just that small behavior reinforces into me that, okay, I can take action and I'm not a victim of my emotions or my situation. Because a lot of times we sit down because we feel we can't do anything or we can't control the situation. And to a fact that might be true, but there is something you can control. and you can do that. You can take one step forward and just take it as a slow process. A lot of times you want to go from 0 to 100. No, nahi hone wala. It's going to be like take one step forward, and that's going to build your confidence. Athletes who have lost confidence because of poor performances, they have become scared of going back into the field, which is of course very natural. So what do we recommend for them is just take that one small action that's going to probably the likelihood of you succeeding is mostly high. So you feel good. And then you go next step, and then you go next step. So step by step, I think self-confidence starts increasing, and then you have the support of people. So
amazing. So what time ऐसा होता है कि people don't share what they are feeling. They just keep it inside. Whether it's career problem, relationship problem, there is a chance that they won't have anyone to talk about this. But even उनके पास होता भी है, they just don't like sharing it. So what is the negative outcome of it? Like अपने अंदर सब चीज रखना and then not sharing with anyone else, and you're going through alone. So what is the negative outcome of it, and how positive is to share things with other people?
In my opinion, sharing my personal emotions with somebody requires a lot of vulnerability. So I need to be able to trust that person. So I wouldn't recommend people, when I'm saying go share, you find the social support that you have. It's not easy because not every person's really firstly interested in what you're going with. They don't understand what you're going through. So I want you to be mindful कि तुम किससे बात कर रहे हो. That also matters. But sharing or not sharing actually makes you feel also alone. Like you might overthink things. And the flaw in overthinking is that we think that we're finding a solution. No, you're just a rat who's running in the same thing again and again. Because even if you're going this way, that way, this way, that way, you're still stuck in a particular loop because it's said that the mind that creates the problem cannot find the solution. Because it's the way you are looking at it. Your perception needs to change a little so that you can find a solution to it. And that's why sharing or seeking support is helpful, with that disclaimer which I made, right? Speaking to the people that you can trust. So not sharing has that impact on you where you get stuck. You feel stuck more than you are. You feel confused. You don't know. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes. So that needs to be avoided because it will play on your self-confidence and your self-esteem. Tomorrow, if a challenge comes, because life's not going to stop, you're going to start feeling more and more and more pressured. So
वैसा भी नहीं होता है जैसा हम चाहते हैं. Always life's gonna hit you with blows, and it's all about, it defines how you tackle it, and it all defines like that.
Yeah. It's the mindset. It's the mindset with which you are going to approach life, and that is what a lot of my work with athletes is on as well. It's the mindset that you're going to cultivate through this journey. You play for India. Most of athletes want to play for India, right? You play or you don't play. It's who are you becoming through this journey? Are you becoming a person who can take on challenges? You are self-confident within yourself. You believe that you can get through it. That mindset needs to be built. It's not something you're born with, and it's not something that, I don't have it, matlab I don't have it. You can build it. It's a skill. So whatever I'm teaching my athletes, it's a skill. I'm also growing through that. So none of this mindset I had before. I'm also growing through that because it's something you can learn. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I can remember, that please understand that these are mental skills. You can learn them, you can grow through them and develop that mindset that's going to help you through the life.
Amazing. So it's going to be really informative for the people who will be watching this, and including me as well. Because I have been through such phases where I couldn't control myself, or I was not able to manage my emotion. So ma'am, a lot of time happen where athletes से बहुत ज़्यादा expectations हो जाती है. Parents expect a lot from them, coaches expect a lot from them. खुद से भी कई बार expectation हो जाती है. Similarly मेरे टाइम पे भी ऐसा हुआ था. मैंने अपने से बहुत expectation रख ली थी कि I have a natural talent, पूरा भरोसा है, मैं कर लूँगा इसमें. I can play for a professional level. So ये expectations जो होती हैं और when athletes go through such kind of pressure, how do they deal? Like कैसे deal करना चाहिए, कैसे आप psychologically ये phase को आप define करती हैं?
True. Expectations तो बहुत है सब जगह से. Like when you start sport, you start enjoying it. ना वो process start होता है. Okay, you've started something new. I'm doing well. Okay, I'm doing really well. Okay, I'm going better. Now वो initially you start also seeing that I am doing well and my expectations are also getting built up at the same time. So then I start setting some high standards for myself, so that I can get better and better and better. So self-expectations, for sure, they are helpful to push you to get better. In this journey, दो लोग बहुत ही important हो जाते हैं for an athlete, are the parents and the coaches. उनके expectations, of course, are going to impact the athlete. And the age of the athlete also matters. I have an athlete जो काफ़ी young है, एंड उसके पेरेंट्स के उससे एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत हाई थे, सो दैट शी कैन प्ले फॉर इंडिया. एंड उसके स्पोर्ट में अर्ली दैट यू प्ले वेल, द बेटर द चांसेस दैट यू विल प्ले फॉर इंडिया, क्योंकि वो ऐसा स्पोर्ट है. सो उसकी वजह से शी स्टार्टेड फीलिंग अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर फ्रॉम द पेरेंट्स एंड देयर एक्सपेक्टेशंस स्टार्टेड माउंटिंग सो मच दैट नाउ शी इज सो स्कैर्ड ऑफ इवन प्लेइंग. She's so scared of even going for competitions and tournaments. So I've seen the negative impact of expectations of parents on an athlete. And in this situation, the two best things that you can do is first educate the client that, okay, कुछ तो impact हो रहा है ये expectations का तुम पे and तुम्हारे performance पे. And how are we going to deal with it? Because you have to again understand कि वो pressure कहाँ से आ रहा है. Is it from the coaches, parents? What about it is pressurizing you? So that's number one, that you have to speak through the expectations and set appropriate expectations. Maybe you are right now at this level and you want to play for India. You need to set the right level of goals so that your expectations from yourself are at least managed well. So we break it down. I think for me, I need to give the client all the responsibility of managing that expectation, and then parents ke saath also I speak on the side to manage these expectations better, so that they don't pressurize them in a way that they will start hating sport for what it is. Yeah.
So I think it is really important for the parents to set their children free, whatever they love they are doing, but in terms of playing also they should set themselves free. Because in my case also, when I was in 7th or 8th standard, I don't remember, but तो मैंने अपने डैड से बोला था कि I really want to go to चर्च गेट साइड, because वहाँ बहुत अच्छी academies होती है and I really have a scope to grow there. My dad was like, हाँ नाच जा, कोई नहीं रोक रहा है तुझे, I'll support you. So it creates a sense of freedom in your mind that you have to just go out and play, be natural and play accordingly.
Yeah.
So as you said, it is very important to control that pressure also. And how do you a message to the parents, how they should set their children free or whatever they are doing?
Yeah. I think the role of a parent keeps changing throughout the career of an athlete. If the child is young, below 10, below 12, उनका role important होता है, because they are the ones funding the whole sport for the kid, right? If they win, they don't win, the money is not that great anyway. So that time you have to travel with the kid, you have to take them everywhere, you have to pay for all the equipment. So the role of the parent is very central when you are much younger. At that point in time, because itna sara I'm investing into my kid, expectations are also going to increase because of that. So I think the parents need to be aware that yes, I'm investing my time, my resources into my kid. What kind of expectations am I setting because of that? Those need to be a little more separate, because that will put a lot of pressure कि मैं इतना पैसा डाल रही हूँ, like I'm investing a lot of money, what am I getting out of it? So I need to push my child to do better. That can impact the kid's love for the sport, right? So the initial phases, they need to be able to know their role in sport with the athlete. Later on, as you grow up, their role starts becoming more supportive, because the kids growing up, they're adolescent, they don't want interference anyways. That's I'm sure a very difficult phase for most parents. But that's when they start probably letting them go a little bit. And also then comes a time where the kid needs to decide, what's my career? 18, 19, 20, you need to start deciding, is sport my career or not my career? That's when the parent again starts getting involved a lot more. So I think the parent's role in sport is so complex. I don't have an easy answer for you, but I think always the clarity between the athlete, if I'm the athlete and you're my parent, I think we need to be on the same page of what's happening, where are we headed, and what is the role. Right? The athlete I was talking to you about, she was very frustrated because the parents were assuming some other role that they had to keep in her life, and she was expecting a very different role. She wanted just support. She just wanted them to be there for her, but they were like making all decisions. They were like dictating her gameplay. So a lot of that mess happens. So I think the role of a parent needs to be very clear on both the ends, and that's where a sports psychologist can really help.
You have described it really beautifully, and I think every parent should understand this, what you are saying right now. So I would like to end it, the achievement question, what India has achieved recently. They have achieved 100 medals in Asian Games. So it is likely that बहुत सारे psychologists इसके पीछे होंगे. तो ये बहुत ही पॉजिटिव बात है इसके अवेयरनेस को और बढ़ाने के लिए. And similarly to that, every lot of leagues are happening in India right now. Kho league आ रहा है, कबड्डी के बहुत सारे leagues आ रहे हैं. So every sport is having some kind of psychologist with them. So उनका impact आप बताइए क्या हो सकता है, और आप awareness बताइए कि किस तरीके से और awareness बढ़ सकती है फील्ड के बारे में.
Sport in India is just booming right now, and it's giving a lot of avenues for sports psychologists and other sports science professionals to come up and support the athletes through this journey, so that they actually enjoy the sport for what it is, right? वो journey को positive बनाने में हमारा role काफी important हो रहा है. So the more the leagues athletes are playing, the more exposure that they are now getting. They also have to deal with this consistent flow of leagues, competitions. So rest and recovery is important. Managing emotions is important. Making certain crucial decisions, which competitions to go for, not to go for. Not that we are going to be making those decisions, but going through all of this, the athletes can be supported by the sports psychologists. And I think I can see a lot of positive growth being in the field myself of what is to come in the next 5 to 10 years within sports psychology. And I do want to highlight that yes, there's a lot of growth happened in the Asian Games. We can see the results. We can see a lot more leagues that are coming up. Sports psychology is being now perceived as a psychologist comes on board, you can talk to the athletes, and then there is a kind of a gap. After the league ends, there is no sports psychologist. Right. Well, I hope that's not the way the industry looks at it, because we're not going to come only for a season, like a league, and then not be there. Because thoda sa consistent work will be more beneficial for the individual athlete. I understand on a team level, that's the need of the hour, but to have long-term impact on the sporting community, we need to have a more consistent role of a sports psychologist. So that's what I want to highlight.
जब sports physiotherapist होता है टीम के साथ, जब when any player gets injured on the field, they comes running on the field, and everybody is aware that there is a sports physiotherapist with the team, but not everybody is aware about हाँ sports psychologist भी होते हैं टीम के साथ. And अभी वो हो रहा है कि it's coming up and people are getting aware about it. So I think that's a really positive thing, because as I said earlier, this field is yet to be explored. Yeah. And I'm really happy, and it is really nice it really sounds good that the awareness is increasing. 100%. So thank you, ma'am. You were really informative for the students and for me as well. And I wish you all the best in your career.
Thank you
And
so much.
anything you would like to say, conclude?
I first of all thank you for having me here. I really enjoyed talking about sports psychology, and I think the one thing I want to conclude with is that sport is it's an emotion for most people. They love it. They want to do their best in it, and as they improve and go higher and higher, there's a lot of complexities, yes, but I hope they don't lose the love for sport and continue enjoying the sport for what it is. I'm going to be a little geeky here and tell you that sport actually comes from a French word which means fun or leisure, right? So it's not a sport, it needs to be fun as well. It cannot be all the time planning and getting things done and performing and taking stress and all of those. I will come, but also enjoy the game for what it is and start building a good, healthy mindset alongside building your physical body, because your body will take you this far, but at the top, I think everybody agrees what distinguishes two players is how they're taking that pressure, how they're managing their mindset in that environment. So I would urge everyone to start looking inside and seeing what your mindset is and just enjoy the game for what it is.
Beautiful. That really motivated me. So thank you for tuning in to this exciting and very informative session with Parinaaz Irani ma'am. I am really sure that students or people who will watch this episode will get deep insights about sports psychology. To listen to this podcast of Buzz Behind the Sports, you can tune into YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music and Google Podcasts. You can also tune into @IISM World on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you. Have a nice day.